Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very special coverage for the COP27 currently taking place in Sharm el-Sheikh. And we will start off with our main top stories of the day. The UN Climate Conference COP27 continues its activities on Monday in Sharm el-Sheikh under the title of the Gender Day and the Water Day. A number of sessions are held to discuss the impact of climate change on water security, means of facing the change of water systems, and increasing rates of floods and drought in many areas worldwide. Monday's activities also witnesses the launch of AWARE initiative in partnership with the Meteorological Global Organization. The initiative aims at supporting political efforts, sharing information and backing capabilities of civil work to put systems of managing water in the core of climate change agenda. This is in addition to the launch of the African Water Platform. And moving on to our special reports, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry, President of COP27, announced the launch of the Cairo Center for Climate Learning and Excellence on Adaptation and Resilience to accelerate climate adaptation across Africa. We have more details in this report.
Foreign Minister and President of COP27 Sameh Shoukry announced the launch of the Cairo Center for Learning and Excellence on Adaptation and Resilience to accelerate climate adaptation across Africa. Shoukry made the announcement in a speech during the Advancing Adaptation Action in Africa event held at the 27th session of the United Nations Conference on Climate Change in Sharm el-Sheikh. The new center's role will be skill building, exchanging expertise, and conducting academic research in cooperation with governments and NGOs in Africa to deal with the problems of climate adaptation. Shoukry said the Sharm el-Sheikh Adaptation Agenda program was launched a few days ago and included 30 goals to implement by the year 2030. He also asserted that Egypt, as the president of COP27 and as an African country, understands the adaptation challenge Africa faces. Shoukry said that we are all happy that we were able to cooperate with the United States throughout last year to prepare a support package to support Africa to implement the climate adaptation program. The U.S. has announced that it has contributed $10 million to the Cairo Center as part of an over $150 million package.
Welcome back, and still with our special reports, the Egyptian government launched the first African voluntary carbon market on the sidelines of the COP27 climate summit currently being held in Sharm el-Sheikh. More details.
The Egyptian government launched the first African voluntary carbon market on the sidelines of the COP27 climate summit currently being held in Sharm el-Sheikh in the presence of world leaders. The African market for carbon certificates is a platform to help economic entities operating in various productive activities in Egypt and Africa to engage in activities to reduce carbon emissions and to benefit from the issuance and sale of certificates under the reduction of other companies wishing to offset their carbon emissions that are difficult to reduce. Voluntary carbon markets help companies recover part of their investment spending directed to reducing carbon emissions resulting from the exercise of their activities and reinvesting these resources in achieving the greater goal of carbon that all countries of the world seek to achieve. For his part, the Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli said that the launch of the new voluntary market confirms the capabilities of the Egyptian state to participate effectively in advancing efforts to achieve the international goal, which is carbon neutrality, in addition to the fact that the new market comes in line with the National Climate Change Strategy 2050, which is adapted and implemented by the Egyptian administration and targets in its fourth pillar, strengthening climate finance infrastructure.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and still with our special reports. Minister of International Cooperation Rania Al-Mashat announced that Egypt's Green Economy Transition File has won first place among North African and European countries. We have more details of this report.
Minister of International Cooperation Rania Al-Mashat announced that Egypt's Green Economy Transition File, NWFE, has won the first place among North African and European countries for the Climate Investment Fund's initiative on nature and climate investments. Egypt has recently launched the Nexus of Water, Food and Energy Program, NWFE, an acronym that reads fulfilling pledges in Arabic to attract foreign investments to finance eco-friendly and green projects as a part of the country's national climate change strategy 2050. NWFE also ranked among the top 10 files out of 48 countries that applied to the initiative. The CIF provides developing countries with grants, concessional loans, risk mitigation instruments, and equity that leverages significant financing from the private sector, multilateral development banks, and other sources. The CIF initiative can mobilize $500 million on additional concessional capital every year for developing countries, leading to an estimated $50 billion in total investment over 10 years. The CIF investments in Egypt over recent years have included funding for a wind energy project in the Gulf of Suez and mass transit infrastructure in Cairo. The minister said that the file was compiled by the Ministry of International Cooperation in partnership with the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, the African Development Bank, and the World Bank Group.